He's like, my name is John, I'm the property manager. Stop charging to park these cars. We were contracted by a company that was doing an event at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and that's the big raceway down here in South Atlanta. And what they needed valet parking attendants and or parking attendants to direct cars into parking spaces. This is a huge location, and I think they can hold probably up to 10 or 12,000 cars easily on the front side of the property. So they hired us to park for 10,000 people, which translates to about 5,000 cars. And we had a team of about 24, 25 parking attendants to pretty much direct people where to park and to collect cash. I went down to the location. Obviously, we had to have several meetings to pretty much discuss how we were going to do this. And this was spread out over 3 parking lots. So let's just call it the red lot, the green lot, and the blue lot. And the lots are probably about 1,000 feet apart from each other. So essentially what we were going to do, we were going to have people start going into these lots, and we would have our team in there at that point to direct them into the lot. The second person they would get in contact with would discuss with them what the price was for it, and it was $20. So please have your money ready, so when you get to the next person, you could just get that, get your ticket, and then go to the next level, which is going to the parking spaces. The event started at 3 p.m. and the race was at 7 p.m. So we essentially had 4 hours to park 5,000 cars, which breaks down in my head 400 cars per hour per lot. It didn't work that way. For the first 2 or 3 hours, we parked a total of maybe 1,000 cars, but it went super smooth. We were super happy, and I think at that point we had collected over $20,000. Now let me explain the process for the collection of the money. I was collecting it along with my top manager, so only the highest trusted people with my company were touching the money. Also with the venue, I had them come and sweep our money, which means come and collect our money every 10 minutes. We had fanny packs in the beginning, and fanny packs are only this big. We blew those out. We had to transfer to backpacks, and we literally had the backpacks turned around on the front of our chest with the zipper open. So essentially this much we're just stuffing money in. So every 10 or 20 minutes they would come, we'd just exchange out backpacks. They would give us a new backpack, and we'd just keep loading up the cash. So it was pretty funny, but that was for security reasons, to make sure, and not to mention we had tons of officers that were right there in security to make sure nothing bad happened to us, of course, holding that kind of money. So essentially for this event, they were getting 5,000 cars at $20 a piece. That's $100,000. So we were going to be in the process of collecting $100,000 in the next 4 hours. So the first couple hours, like I said, people started coming in. Everything was perfectly fine. It was smooth, easy, and I was excited. I'm like, oh, this is a piece of cake. But then I'm like, wait, this is only 1,000 cars out of 4,000. Oh boy, we have 2 hours left to park 4,000 cars. So for the next time, I think it's now 5 o'clock, 5:30, and it starts to ramp up. By 6 o'clock, cars are everywhere. It's now 1 hour before the start of the race, and cars are in every different direction. Everything is going well, and everything is actually going smooth, and we're parking the cars pretty quickly. At that point, I think we had collected over $60,000, and they had collected it, swept it, and everything was perfectly fine. No issues at all. We could see the cars steadily coming in all different directions, and I was happy. The flow was going pretty well. But then at 7 o'clock, we look up, and at that point, we'd only parked 4,000 out of the 5,000 cars. It's now the race is about to start at 7 p.m. and we still have 1,000 cars to park over 3 parking lots. And the parking lots are fine. They're collecting. We have plenty of space still. We're not going to run out of parking spaces. But then I'm starting to get word from the property manager that some of these cars are out of here going down the long way and onto Terra Boulevard, which is at that point almost a half a mile away from physically where I'm standing. So we have cars backed up over a half a mile. So they want us to step up the pace, and we are going as fast as we can. Honestly, I can bring in 10 more people and it's not going to make us any faster unless we open up another parking lot, which they didn't want to do. They only wanted us functioning off of 3 parking lots. So the cars are still coming in, and they're coming in pretty quickly. And again, everything is great. But then I get the word of stop charging. I'm like, excuse me? They're like, stop charging to park. Just let these people park for free. I can't make that determination because this is coming from a person who I didn't see at the first meeting. He's like, my name is John. I'm the property manager. Stop charging to park these cars. Let these cars park for free. We got to get them off the roadway. Because what happened, I later found out, if these cars back up onto Tara Boulevard way too long, then they get fined. So they wanted to make sure they didn't get fined. They're like, park these cars quickly. Let them just park themselves. And I say park, let me explain. We're not physically valet parking the car. We're only directing them where to park. So essentially, we're having the valets come down here and we're like, park here. Park quickly, go to the next space, go to the next space. And it was working really fast. These guys were parking cars, I would say, every 30 seconds. So everything was dead on exactly what it needed to hear, except when it came by to sweep the money. So they come by to sweep the money and we give them a half empty backpack. And they're like, what is this? I said, they told us to stop collecting money. They said, who told you this? I said, John did. This wasn't agreed upon or anything. We still owe X amount of dollars, and now we are $16,000 short. I said, well, I have nothing to do with that. That was a call from him. So we had to get him down here to explain why. So whatever price they were paying to, let's say, lease this venue for the day, I think they minused out $16,000. But essentially, this is how we lost $16,000 by not being fast enough in 1 hour. So looking back at this, there's no way possible we could have parked 1,000 cars in less than an hour in 3 different parking lots. There's no way, and they know that themselves. They just didn't know the timing of their customers coming in. They figured since their venue opened at 3, people would trickle in over the next 4 hours. They didn't think everybody was going to come in within the last 1 hour period, essentially having 80% of their people come in during that time. So it really wasn't our fault, and they understood that there was just nothing they could do about it. They just know next time how to plan this, or either B, open up additional parking lots for us so we can distribute the cars a little bit more evenly and at a faster pace. So often when we get hired, we're hired at a point where they hire us to monetize their free parking situation. You may go to a venue and think, oh, it's free parking, but it's really not. A lot of times people know if they rent a certain venue, parking may be an additional source of revenue. Now, where it really gets tricky, a lot of people assume that goes directly to the parking company, and it doesn't. We don't get to collect any of that money. We have a set rate. And I learned in my earlier years, a lot of people used to tell us about revenue sharing, which you can do if you think it's going to be a popular event. But in other cases, we've gotten burned badly on some of our other events. We've had events where it's supposed to be so popular and we end up only parking, let's say, 100 cars and collecting a couple of $100, and that doesn't even pay for our labor. So we've learned from there on, we have a set fee. We don't care what it is. Pay our costs, and that's what it is. Anything we'll collect as much as, it doesn't matter if we collect $100, $1,000, or $100,000. Our rate will stay the same. So as long as we're paid and satisfied, we're good. We'll collect everything honestly, and that's why I work events like this, and I'll have my top team on it to collect money like this and turn it over. And the revenue, I think they said through their accounting was almost, I think there's always a degree of maybe 3 to 5% margin of error, and they said it was almost at 2%. So it was a 2% margin of error. So our numbers were very precise exactly to where they needed to be. And that's usually done when you collect the money and you cross-reference it with the tickets that you use. So when they saw that and they saw it was within a 2% degree, we were dead on. So in a sense, they will use us again. We just have to work on a few more logistical things so this doesn't happen again.